Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Jain and welcome back to the Matplotlib tutorial series part 2. In the previous video, we understood how we can just create the plot with the help of our Matplotlib and how we can manipulate the various attributes within a plot, right? Like just manipulating, x-axis, y-axis, labels, adding a legend, adding the name of the chart or the plot, and then, changing the windows in which that plots are created, right? And we also briefly understood the subplot, right? How we can have a multiple plots in a one figure, right? Because that actually help us to compare the subset of a same data sets when we have a huge data sets and we want to have subsets of it and we want to compare the subsets to find out the relationship or do the comparison, whatever analysis you want to do with those data points, right? And if you just see my screen, this is where we have just left our coding part, right? So I just want to take it from the same point where we have left in the previous video. So if you haven't watched the last one, and if you are new to the Matplotlib, then I would suggest just watch my previous video as well. And this is what happens when we run this part. So we get two plots basically in one figure, right? This is what we got here, right? So two charts, right? The main important thing which I explained in that there are three arguments which we need to pass. The first one is, let's quickly write argument representation. So the first one is rows. Second one is columns, like how many columns you want in that. And then the third one is the sequence of a chart, basically, right? So let's add a more interesting data set, which I just created for this video for subplot, basically. So I have 4 different data points. If you just see, it's pretty much same. We can say it's a sale data, percentage sale, let's say in India, Japan. Let's assume that there is one product which is launched, in India, Japan, New York, and let's assume the 4th city, Paris. Okay. And what we want is, 1 month has been completed since we launched this, and we really want to see how the sale looks like in these countries and cities. I think I just used Japan and India. So let's take one city from here, Tokyo. And from India, we can take Bangalore. Right. Looks good. Okay. So here we have the percentage for 1 month, first 5 days, then next 5 days, the next, so 30 days data, 80%, 70%, 60%, 70, 90, like blah, blah, right? So what we need, let's assume I'm replacing this one with this, I'm replacing this one with this, and I can this, this Tokyo should be replaced with New York and this one. Okay, so let's run this and see. We're gonna get with some error. Not the error, but our chart is completely messed up, and I can quickly explain that. Right, so we can see, one chart looks good, then everything just colliding onto the second columns, right? So how we can fix this issue? To fixing this, basically here the chart 2 to 2, right? What does it mean? It means that every data point will go to the chart second, right? If you just see, the third argument for all the 3 charts is 2 to 2, right? So if I just give it 3, if I give it 4, if I run this again, this is, let's see what happens. Okay, now we are getting into this value error, which says that, okay, it should be the num 1 less than or equal to num less than or equal to 2, not 3, right? Why this is happening? Because let me just increase this to 4 column 4 4 4. Let's run this and see what happens now. Oh, cool. We are able to fix this by just changing the number, and we can just discuss a little bit about that error which we got and how we fixed it, right? So now we can see 4 graphs in one row, right? Here, if you just see, the first one is for the India, then we have a Tokyo, then we have New York, and then we have Paris, right? We can easily compare how the things are happening. If in India, if you just see, the sale is for first 15 days, sale is decreasing, and after 15 days to the next 15 days, at the end of the month, it's keep increasing, right? In Tokyo, it's keep decreasing, and then we have New York where it's continuously increasing, in Paris, first 15 days keep increasing and then it drastically decreases, right? So now we can understand, depending upon what is our business strategy, by seeing this data, we can understand where the sale is increasing and we can figure it out why it is increasing. And there are 2 cities like Tokyo and Paris where the sale is decreasing, then we can just take the action accordingly, like what is going right in those 2 cities and what is going wrong in those 2 cities where the sale is decreasing, and we can figure it out the strategy how we can learn something from Bengaluru and New York, what a strategy we have there and why it is why it is continuously increasing, whereas in Tokyo and Paris it's decreasing, right? So we can compare a lot of data, we can get a lot of other data points and variable, and we can figure it out and share with our marketing team or whosoever is interested, whosoever is a decision maker. We can share them, okay, this is how the trends are, and they can just take the corrective action. They can just define the strategy, what needs to be done, right? So that this is how subplot, having a one plot, having a multiple plots in a one diagram help us, right, to analyze the data, right? That's one thing. The other thing which we can do in subplot is, if you remember, it was very hard to find out, which chart belongs to which one, right? So it would be good if we can just add the title, right? So for adding the title, what we need to do is, we can say title, and we can give some name like the, okay, and then okay. Similarly, we can say New York. So that way, let's see, first run this and see whether this is increasing, the readability of our charts or not. Yeah, it looks like, right? So now we precisely know which chart belongs to which city, and then we can. So similarly, if you just go through the documentation, then you will find out there are a lot of attributes which you can keep adding to this to make this, charts more readable, more easy to understand, right? Now, the other thing which you have to keep in mind, you have to read through the documentation to understand, because these 3 arguments are very important, right? We can mess up a lot of things over here, right? So we have 4, right? So you have to make sure the number of columns, should always be greater than how many plots you want to create, right? If it is, you have only single row, right? So this actually depends upon the row and columns. I was always confused with that. And that's the reason we got into that error, because we were having 1 and 2, 1 row and 2 columns, and we just have the sequence number same for 3 charts, and it just combined in one, right? Let's see what happens if we have 2 columns. I guess we have already seen that we got into that error. So what else we can do with subplot? Is there anything else? Yes, I think one more thing which we should do here is And so we have individual chart, but we don't have, the collective, or I would say the super title, because this is what the documentation says. And I think if you want to give a chart name to the combined chart, then you have to use subtitle. Sub stand for super title, and this can be product sale. Let's see. So basically, if you just go through the documentation, then you will find a lot of things, which you can include in this chart to make it, more understandable, more easy to analyze, more readable, right? So now we can see the title for the collective chart, like product sale in the first month. Then we have a cities based, I mean, how the trend looks like for sale of product in a first month, right? So I think that's pretty much it, which I wanted to cover here. In the next part, I would try to just cover, various different kind of charts, which, we use, like bars, pie chart, histograms, scatter, and probably once I cover all these, different charts, and probably I can do a little bit of the real-time data. Probably we can just extract some real-time data and try to come up with, to have a more realistic, charts through which we can conclude something, right? So let me first, cover all the basics, through, so that we can get comfortable with all kind of charts which we can create with the Matplotlib. And then we can just try to take one case study to just, build the entire solution. Probably we can have some data points stored in a file, some data points stored in a database. We can extract them. Maybe some dates for one chart, we will be extracting data from file. From another chart, we will be extracting data from database, and for third chart, probably we can extract the data from some API, and we can just collate together, and we just try to put into the one chart and see how it works, right? I think probably if you think about some more sources through which you want to extract the data, and then just you have to create the chart, just let me know in a comment section. Probably I will try to include that source of data as well. So thanks for watching this, and as always, keep learning new things and stay healthy. And don't forget, to provide your suggestion and a feedback how I can just make these video more informative and more easy to learn. Thanks a lot.